TSF Entertainment.
Yo, and welcome back to TSF Entertainment. We're here, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the end of season 3, Raising Kanan, episode 10, Made You Look, exclusive picks and predictions. Now, some of these scenes and pictures you have seen from last week's trailer, some of them you haven't, as they are brand new. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Episode 10, Made You Look synopsis says desperation sets in as Howard tries to evade the task force and Ronnie goes on the attack, leaving Rock and Kanan to make some fateful choices. We have Howard here in the mosque, and more than likely, he's here to ask for forgiveness for his sins, for everything that he has done to Bert, helping out Kanan, helping out Rock, just being it quote unquote in a sense a dirty cop altogether. As he told Rock last episode, he wants to be free of it all. He's going here to free himself of it all. Just ask for forgiveness, possibly also ask what direction or what step he should take moving forward. And yeah, pretty much that's what it is. So here, as we saw a snippet in the trailer, we have Howard and Rock here in Rock's house, where Howard says they're coming for us, and Rock says for us or just for you. Now, it seems as Howard has found out some new information, either from the task force or some type of information where he overheard the task force, and he's coming to warn Rock that, hey, they are coming. But we see Rock, she's not worried at all because she knows she has so much evidence on Howard. Now, what we can see is if you look closely to her table, she has about 4 or 5 guns on her table. She's cleaning them, loading them up with bullets. Now, the question is why? I'm leaning more towards this is the scene after they try to unalive her with the drive-by shooting. Now that she's home, she's coming to load up and prepare to go to war as she knows they try to take her out. I mean, it could be quite possible she's loading up in general because of everything that she's done so far with unaliving Juliana, cutting off Ronnie and Kanan's connect, her being on Snaps and Pop's bad side. She could foresee it already coming, but I'm kind of thinking more so this is the after effect. And now that she knows that they are trying to unalive her, that she's gearing up and she's ready to go. This new scene here, we have Jukebox and Marvin at Rock's house. Sure, this is where Rock tells them exactly what happened with them trying to unalive her with the drive-by. It also could be where she is telling them the conversation that she had with Detective Howard. If you all know, when Kanan gets kidnapped, this is the exact same outfit that Jukebox has on. So I'm sure Rock is coming up with a plan, letting them know, and more than likely she's going to tell Juke to, hey, go talk to Kanan, let him know what's going on. We have Rock here in her house. She has on a totally different set of clothing. Now, we do not know who she's talking to. She could have been talking to Juke and Marvin from the previous scene, or this could be somebody else that we have not seen yet, or we don't know. Could be a new character. It just could be anybody. Well, possibly maybe her mom, or as I stated before, Juke and Marvin. Here we have Juke and Aisha eating, where we know what happened to Juke the last episode. So Aisha is going to check on Juke, see if she's okay, then ask her, what happened? Why are the feds talking to you? Why did they want to talk to you? tries to maybe even ask more questions about her father, her family. And we all know Juke is very, very tight lipped. So I'm sure she won't divulge too much information. Now, you could also see where Juke lets Aisha know she's going into the army because of what happened, where the Fed showed up to question her about her father. Or could also see she's going there in general because she was kicked out of Butter. And that could be why she's telling her, that she's kicked out of Butter because their manager feels their lead singer doesn't it's not a good look for this new group and their lead singer to be questioned by the feds. Another theory that could be quite possible is that she dissolved the group altogether because of it. And Aisha, of course, is still a friend, is, hurt about it. And this will probably push Juke even more to go to the army as her big break is just completely destroyed. Andrew Tanner here is talking to Detective Howard, and he asked Detective Howard, does he have any connection to Marvin and organized crime? Now, last episode, Detective Howard was on his feet, lied instantly, manipulated Captain Batiste and Agent Tanner to make them believe that they were crazy. He said, as he stated, he's a decorated officer. What are y'all implying? That I'm dirty? Like, you know, I'm not. However, with the look on his face, it seems like we'll see Agent Tanner unveil some type of damaging evidence that leads them with Howard and the connection to Marv. Now, what that evidence is, we don't know. Could be quite possibly that they find out that Rock used to be his CI for when she was younger, and they start putting two to two together and realize that Kanan is also his son. But who knows? But we do know that the scene right here is going to be very pivotal to this last episode. So we've been some theories about this picture, this scene right here of Marvin at the cemetery. There's been some theories floating around that he is there looking at Kendra's grave, Juke's mom. There's also been theories that he is there visiting one of Gerald's daughter, who recently had the unfortunate drowning accident. And then there's what I believe he is there none other to visit Gerald's grave as he finds out about Gerald unaliving himself, overdosing at the guilt of him losing his daughter. Now, we do know that Marv was extremely upset with Gerald. He was extremely hurt as Gerald never told him they were investigating him. He never gave him a heads up. He never told him about him being locked up, him being a snitch and whatnot. So we know he's extremely upset and hurt about that, but he still cared for Gerald as a friend. And he really wanted Gerald to do good and get clean to be there for his daughters. And while he's there at the cemetery, this new scene, we see that the FBI pull up on Marv. Now, there could be a couple of reasons as to why. The previous scenes where Agent Tanner and Howard are talking, Howard could just went on ahead and just told everything and put it all on Marvin. As he stated in the last episode, Marv needs to take the fall for this. He needs to take one for the team. So it have been just giving all type of information, or maybe just even a little bit of information to point the feds at Marvin, and they show up to lock up Marvin. Now, however, since we do not see Agent Tanner in this scene, it's making me to believe that the feds happen to see Marv there at Gerald's cemetery. I'm sorry, at Gerald's plot. Could also be that he was there for as he's standing way back up in the cut. Gerald was having a funeral. He didn't want to be seen there, and they just happened to see him. They approach him, and let him know, like, hey, try to fish around for some information, like, hey, you're a part of our investigation. How do you know Gerald, and whatnot? We shall see. We got Snaps and Pops here who are sitting down with none other than Rock, and Rock told them, I don't want to go to war over my son. I don't want any bloodshed right here. Like it's done. Now the question is, was this before or after the drive-by shooting? It's unclear. But as far as Rock sitting down with Snaps and Pop, willing to bet she's going to do any and everything she can to not go to war, as she doesn't want Kanan hurt. So it could be quite possible she's meeting with Snaps and Pops and she's letting them know, like, hey, I will pay you the money that Ronnie owes you. And when I give you this money, you're paid back in full. Kanan's out of the picture, and I'll handle Ronnie my way. And it could also quite possibly offer, we can do business together. I got my product moving out these Chinese restaurants, and I'll give you a percentage of what I make. And now we're business partners. Again, Kane is out of it, and you let me deal with Ronnie. Here, Kanan, we see, is being kidnapped. If you look closely, you will notice this is the exact same fan that Ronnie and Clarence were in when the Colombians rolled up on them while they were waiting for their bricks. Now the question is, why is Kanan being kidnapped? You look closely in the driver's seat van, that looks like that is none other than Ronnie kidnapping Kanan. The description says that Ronnie goes on the attack. So he kidnaps Kanan as a ransom. And more than likely a ransom for Rock to give up her business. Since we know now she's moving, her product is booming out of the storefronts. He takes over her business, or he just holds him for ransom or money. What we do know is that they have to make some decisions. So I'm pretty sure when they do, that's what Ronnie is going to say, hey, I want the business. And then he's going to say, are you willing to exchange the business for the life of your son? And more than likely probably tries to get inside of Kanan's head to say, hey, you with us, take out Rock. What we do know is that Jukebox is with Kanan when he gets kidnapped. Now, if you remember in the previous scenes earlier in this video, that's the exact same outfit she had on when she was at Rock's house with Marvin. So this could be the after. This could be the after effect. Like I stated earlier, she goes to try to talk to Kanan, or this could be before she even goes to Rock house to let Rock know, like, hey, I was with Kanan. Ronnie came up and kidnapped him. So Stefano says in this scene to Rock, hope your son knows how much you love him. I'm sitting there with Rock and Marvin, which makes me to believe that Rock is going to Stefano to make some kind of deal and ask for a huge favor. Again, listen to what Stefano says. Hope your son knows how much you love him. So Rock is willing to go all in to save him. So she's asking Stefano for some help, some type of big favor. And I'm leaning more towards kind of gearing that is to unalive Ronnie. Could quite possibly also be that she is asking Stefano for some help with the situation with Snaps and Pops. Maybe he covers Ronnie's debt. Maybe she wants him to take out Snaps and Pops, or could quite possibly be, front him the money. As you know, She's just getting her business back booming, front her the money to give to Snaps and Pops. Last theory is to, as we know, Kanan gets kidnapped, is to use his warehouse. As we know in the ending, there is a warehouse scene. And if you remember the first episode, that is where Stefano took Rock and Unique. Here in this new scene right here, we have Ronnie and Kanan. That looks like they are going at it, and Snaps is trying to break them up. Now, if you've been paying attention for the last 3 to 4 episodes, Kanan has been barking back at Ronnie and looking at the crazy things that Ronnie does. We've seen this brewing for quite a while. If you listen to our other predictions, you know we've said this. Kanan is getting tired of Ronnie. As we saw, he barked back at him over Jukebox. He barked back over him. He barked back at him over Famous, and the whole situation of Kanan wanting to go support Juke while they didn't have any work. The facial expression that he gave Ronnie when he threatened the social worker, as well as the same face he gave him when the very first time that Famous had met Ronnie, and Ronnie says, "You run your mouth too much." So he's just getting tired of Ronnie. Another thing, we're in the scene here, this could be the after effect of Ronnie taking it upon himself as he is on the attack and tries to unalive Rock. And Kanan has already told him, don't worry about my family. So here, that's it. It's reached its boiling point. One thing I want folks to notice is the clothing that Ronnie has on and the clothing that Kanan has on. And I'll show you why. So we can see here, Ronnie has on a totally different set of clothes than from that previous scene. So we do know this is the after. This is the after that whole scene transpired. So he kidnapped Kanan, brings him here to this warehouse, which again, after he kidnapped Kanan, thinking that is why Rock went to go talk to Stefano. And she says, "This is the situation that's going on. Can we use your warehouse for the meat? And maybe even hire some of Stefano's goons. Or maybe even ask Stefano to take Ronnie out and put him in the incinerator." So that is why we get them meeting at the warehouse. Again, if you look at Kanan's clothing, his clothing is totally different than in that previous scene where him and Ronnie are going at it. Now, the trailer leads you to believe that Kanan is going to take out Rock. As he says, "I do know what choice to make." Now, there's been theories going around. Of course, Kanan is going to be the one to save his mom, and he's going to take out Ronnie. That could quite possibly be. Who knows? Leaning more towards that is we might see is going to be somebody that we least expect to take out Ronnie, as everybody automatically already believes that it's going to be Kanan, which it could be because that would be his second unaliving. But as we can see in this season, they've kind of jolted us in different directions. So we might just get a huge big cliffhanger for the end of this season. The guys are rolling up, and if you look a little closely, and I know it's very hard to see in this passenger side, that looks like that possibly could be Clarence that is holding the gun out of the window in the passenger seat. And they just roll up and they start shooting at Rock. Now, I hate to bring it up again, but the plot says Ronnie is on the attack, and I believe this is none other than Ronnie's doing. He's tired of Rock. Last episode, Snaps, Pops, and Ronnie spoke to Kanan and told him, your mother's messing up our business. We got to handle her. She got to go. So Ronnie just decides to take it upon himself and do it. Which now that I'm thinking in that scene where him and Kanan are going at it, it could be that is why they were going at it, because Ronnie wanted to take her out, and Kanan was against it. There's multiple theories there, but what we do know is that they come up and try to unalive Rock. Now, is this the beginning of the episode or is it the ending? I don't believe it's the ending. I think the warehouse scene is the ending. But what we do know is, once again, Rock makes it out alive. So, y'all let us know what y'all think from those scenes that you just saw. Drop your comments, drop your predictions down below. And again, let us know what you think is going to happen in the season finale of Raising Kanan. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as we love to hear y'all theories.